Anytime I'm listening to someone teach, I always wonder, first thing I think is, thank you, Liz. I appreciate your input. I always wonder about the speaker and who are they and what gives them the right to be teaching me. So I want to share with you first a few things about me. I am one of the Platinum Elite practitioners in Dr. Dan Pompa's Health Centers of the Future group. This is a group of practitioners around the world with clients, practitioners around the country with clients all around the world who truly live what we teach. We all do research together. We share our clinical results together. So when I have a client who's working with me, it's not just me standing here. It's hundreds of practitioners who are all learning together, doing the same things together. So there's a lot of power in that. And several years ago, I was the first recipient of the Live It to Lead It award, because I live it to an extreme degree. Anything I ask my clients to do, I have done. And I'm going to share a lot of testimonies with you tonight, because I think that's the two most important things that we're going to say tonight. This is the second most important. This testimony is from one of the doctors that I've trained with. She said, thank you again. Thought it would excite you to know that between October 25 and December 2, I had some awesome changes. Body fat percent decreased by 3%. Muscle mass increased by 3%. See, you can't just get on the scale. Sometimes you get on the scale and it hasn't moved, but your clothes are falling off. So you know you're doing something right. Her metabolic age went from 40 down to 34. And that was about how old she was at that time, if I remember correctly. But what she wanted was to get down to a cellular metabolic age that was less than her chronological age. And her mom works with me also. So it is just a thrill and an honor when I hear testimonies like that. In 2017, I received the Kimby Wheelwright Award. This award is given to female practitioners who live the example of natural health care. I'm speechless that I was an incredible honor to receive that. One of my clients, oh, now my Q&A box is covering up the words on my screen. This is going to be tricky, isn't it? So one of my clients said her husband came down to the kitchen and said, oh, that's so good. And her daughter said, what? And he's like, milk from these grass-fed cows. And the daughter ran in there and said, I love that milk. So my client was so grateful because her husband is buying groceries differently. Her daughter is eating differently, her whole family. And we get this input from our clients frequently that we don't. Usually I'm working with a middle-aged woman, but very often they're changing their whole family. So it's like ripples in a pond that keep on going bigger and bigger. I am honored to be on the Queen Sylvie radio show once a month. Sylvie said when I first joined her show, she was addicted to sugar. She had tried to go off of sugar many times. Her husband laughed when I started teaching them how to wean off of sugar. And if you can relate to that, I would love to hear that in the chat box. Oh, thank you, Elena. I would love to hear your input in the chat box. If you have ever tried a sugar-free low-carb diet and struggled, I would love to hear about that. You know, I usually do these talks live. So this is a real challenge for me because I am accustomed to people being right here in front of me. I can look at your face. I can talk to you. I can ask you questions. I can get your input. So I'm feeling really lonely because I don't have all of that tonight. So the chat box, thank you. I appreciate your input. That makes me feel really good to have some input from you. That helps me do my job better tonight. So when Sylvie started doing some of the things we taught her, and I'll tell you, she didn't do all of it. She did maybe half of it. But today, she fasts 18 hours every day. She skips breakfast. She doesn't ever put sugar in her coffee. She's eating a very low-carb diet. She never would have believed she could do that. And it's because the things that we teach are so unique and because we're doing it together. I believe I've already covered this. Let me see if we have new panelists. joining us since then. So hover over the bottom or the top of your screen and a menu will appear. So you can open or close the chat box and the Q&A. And you also, there is a way for you to raise your hand. I'm going to suggest, if you have questions, to just put that in the chat box, because on my screen right now, I don't see the place. There's a way for me to see if you raise your hand, and I don't see that right now. So if you have a question, just, oh, good. Okay. Perfect. I see that you raised your hand. So if you raise your hand, I wonder what I can do about that. There's a way for me to let you speak, and I don't see it on my screen. Thank you so much for your patience. So for now, let's say, thank you guys. I appreciate you raising your hands. That's awesome. So for now, let's say, if you have a question, just put it in the chat box, and I will keep my eye on that, because that actually is open on my screen. Another thing that I was honored to participate in the fall, you know, all these summits, especially now, there's summits all the time. You could have a full-time job just listening to and watching free summits. I was on the 50 Ways to Women's Wellness Summit, and I was honored to interview so many powerful women practitioners who are absolutely changing the world. Because do you know, America is one of the sickest countries in the world. Did you guys know that? We have more chronic degenerative diseases than other countries, and that makes me fighting spitting mad, because that's just not right. We have a choice. We don't have to accept that, but I believe most Americans don't know that they have a choice. So I hope that one thing that all of you will do tonight is share this information with someone else. Join us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find us at Tammy Stewart CHC on all of those social media sites, Instagram. Join us, share that with your friends so that they will know that they have a choice. Because tonight you have a couple of options. You can just listen, or you can take action, and that can change your life. So Lally joined one of the programs that we were in, and again, my chat box is covering so much of my screen. So she was thrilled because she had tried to go low carb previously and had failed, but this time she succeeded. She attended some of our classes live. She attended some of our classes with videos when she had been out of town. She was able to attend classes overseas when she was out of town. So in a 7-week program, she lost 18 pounds, and that was a year and a half ago, and she has been able to keep it off, and she continues to heal. So that was a thrilling life change that we were able to share. This is what it's all about. These babies, these children are from one of my clients, and when she started with me, I was working with the mom. She had enormous health challenges, and so did all 3 of her children. And I'm going to take a long story and make it short. In the time that we were working together, all of them changed their life. The kids had wanted a dog, but mom could barely function on her own and was barely able to take care of her kids because they were sick. There's no way she could have gotten a dog. But you see there, they got a puppy. And on the last online class that I taught, those kids were sitting beside mom, listening to the class. And when they saw this picture, they got so excited. Mom, look, our picture is there. So they're going to be proponents of true health also. The Africans have a saying, in order to have authority over something, you must have had victory over it. That is what truly gives me the right to be here tonight and to teach you. I've always invested in health. My health has always been I always have known it was my greatest asset. It's my asset because I can control it. Of course, my family is the most important thing in my life, but they're not my asset. I can't control them, right? Doesn't take very long to figure that out when you have a baby. So our oldest son came to us and said that he felt depressed. And that picture is how we felt. It was like the rug had been pulled out from under us. It was such a shock to us. And so we did the best, the number one thing that all of us should do any kind of time we're faced with an issue, with a problem, we prayed about it. And I would love to say that the problem went away, but you know what? Sometimes God makes us work for it, doesn't he? So our son came back to us a few months later and said he still felt depressed. So we did what everybody, what any of us would have done. The only thing I knew to do, we took him to the doctor, and the doctor gave him medication. And we took him to a counselor. Yes, of course we did. And he felt a little better. And we went back to the doctor the next month, and what did the doctor do? More medication. And he felt a little better. And the whole time, I am like this mad mama cow, wanting, just would destroy anything to protect my child, yelling at our doctors, what is causing this problem? Because here, I believe that nobody gets sick because of a lack of medication in their diet. Would you agree with that? Is that right? So medication was not going to solve the problem. It did not solve his problem, because the only way to solve a problem is to remove the cause of the problem. Would you agree? So our chiropractor had been watching several of the things happening in our family. And he said, Tammy, I think there's a toxicity problem somewhere in your family, in your body, in your house. Something is going on. So we started the process that you're going to learn about tonight. Our oldest son's depression went away. Now, what is that worth? I could not put a dollar value on that. That would be offensive, wouldn't it? For him, at age 18, that was worth everything. He was a senior in high school by then. He did not have, he did well to get out of bed in the morning. He did not have a plan. When you were a senior in high school, what were you thinking about? Moving out of mom's house and starting your own life, right? And he could not, he could not do that. Mentally, emotionally, he couldn't. So this process completely transformed his life, completely changed my other children's lives and my husband's. And that is why I'm here. So that you and your family and your friends don't have to suffer the way my family suffered. You have a choice. This is my why. I was just like you. We were hurting. We were sick. In fact, we thought we were healthy. We were healthier than all of our friends. We didn't know how sick we were until we took a test that I'm going to share with you later in our talk tonight. And it showed that we had extreme cellular inflammation. Our bodies, if we were cars, we would be covered with rust. We had so much oxidation and inflammation in our bodies. But I had a purpose. And that is the number one most important thing for you to think about tonight. Yes, I'm going to share science with you. We're going to talk about thyroid. We're going to talk about autoimmune. I'm going to answer your questions. And I want you, please, to write in the chat why you came here. Thank you for sharing. A couple of you have shared. You've had some thyroid autoimmune. You're struggling losing weight. Yes, you can lose weight even with a thyroid problem. Here's my philosophy. This is the foundation of everything I do. No rug, because somebody could pull the rug out from under you. The floor, the concrete, the earth, the foundation. God designed your body to heal when the interference is removed. And it happens every single time with every one of my clients. When they do what we teach them to do, they get better every single time. So that's the good news. The most important thing for you to hear. You have to have a purpose, because the bad news is I don't have a quick fix and I don't have a magic pill. I have a process that works, and it's hard sometimes. So for you to get the results you deserve, you have to have a purpose. You have to have a why. So my goal tonight in our short amount of time together is I want to hear what problems you're struggling with. What brought you to the webinar? Why are you investing your time tonight? I want to hear that so that I can be sure I address that. I want us to redefine the problem so we can redefine the solution. The things you've done haven't worked. If they had, you wouldn't be here tonight. I will talk about seaweed. Thank you, Elena. I do not eat seaweed because what's the condition of our oceans? They're very toxic. It's very hard to find healthy seaweed, but healthy, non-toxic, pure seaweed. We do have a better solution that we teach our clients instead of seaweed. Iodine is great. It's essential, but there's a right time and a wrong time. Sorry, I got distracted by that. I mean, I do want you guys to participate. I do want you to chat. Thank you for that, Elena. I appreciate that. So tonight we're going to redefine the problem. We're going to redefine the solution. I would love for you guys in the chat to let me know what kind of things you have done to try to solve your problem. Deanna, would you make a note for me for us to answer Elena's question about seaweed, because there's two different things that I can do. And Elena, we will email you and answer that question for you. So my purpose is tonight, I want you to hear the truth, to see a different choice that you can make so that you can have confidence in the strength and health of your body for life. Especially these days, I think that is missing. Most of us don't have that. So I'm going to give you all of me. I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to give you everything I can. The thing that frustrates me the most, two things: when people come and they hear the truth and they don't act on it, or when they take a little bit of action and they don't get immediate results and they quit and they say, oh, that doesn't work. I tried that, been there, done that. I tried that, that didn't work. That infuriates me. It breaks my heart, because what that did is it robbed those people of hope. When our clients do what we teach them to do, it changes their life every time. And yet it's a process. It's not one magic pill. It's many things. It's a multi-therapeutic approach. Bob Proctor says thoughts become things. If you're interested in that, read his book. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Again, this is the most important thing for you tonight. I want you to write down, make a commitment to yourself that you're willing to change something. That you are going to listen tonight and you're going to make a change. So get out your pen and paper and write, I will, and then you can just put a few bullets here, and over the course of our time together tonight, fill in those bullets. So I want you now to type for me in the chat box, confirm for me. Are you willing? Are you committed? Are you willing to do that? You're willing to do this right now. I will. Put a few bullets. Thank you. Thanks for your appreciation, for your participation, for your commitment. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, let's move forward. My goodness, thinking about the current state of things, but since March, we're feeling fearful and powerless and weak and victimized, aren't we? We're feeling controlled, we're feeling hopeless, and when we're cooped up, oh my goodness, bored, restless, frustrated. And you're here tonight because you want other options, and I applaud your effort and your investment of your time tonight. All during our talk tonight, your brain is going to sabotage you. Your brain is going to give you excuses. Your brain's going to say, you know what? You have been there and done that. You have tried everything and nothing works. There is something wrong with you. If you've ever felt like that, you're not alone. You're going to think, you know what? I have tried things in the past And I might do something differently. If I knew what to do tonight, you're going to learn different things to do. So when you hear something new, stop and ask yourself, do I think I could do that? Could I eat something different besides seaweed? Maybe. Write those things down on your bullet points. In the past, when you tried something and it didn't work, you wanted to give up. We have all been there. But you know what? When you were born, you could not walk, talk, go to the bathroom by yourself, right? And now you can, because, oh my goodness, you wanted to. Think about the last time you watched an infant learn to walk. They want it more than anything, don't they? And, you know, with mom for a first-time child, for the firstborn, she wants that too. Secondborn, she's like, oh, please just crawl a little bit longer before I have to just chase you everywhere. I want to share with you Renee's story. When Renee came to us, in my first appointment with my clients, very often I ask them to fill in the blank. I'm afraid if nothing changes, fill in the blank. Maybe you should write that right now. If nothing changes, I'm afraid, Renee said, I'm afraid I'll die. She had 8 children. She was the primary breadwinner for her home. She was truly afraid for her job because she couldn't hold a thought. She had been getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And that was Renee's story I shared with you earlier about Dan loving the new different kind of milk that she bought in Grapevine, Texas. We're blessed to be able to get healthy milk. Some people can't get that. So I don't want to mislead you in that. And Renee's children made changes. Their health changed. She got her life back. And she's now able to spend her time with her grandkids. She, in fact, works 4 days a week now, and sometimes on Fridays she goes to her grandkids' school and has lunch with them. She never would have been able to do that before she started working with us. So people are either good at achieving their purpose or good at their excuses. You cannot be good at both. So pick one. It's your choice. Your purpose has to be bigger than your fear. Now I'm going to stop a second and catch up. You don't take medication. Excellent, good for you. When someone has restored their health, then it is possible to get off of medication. And would you guys tell me, would you write in the chat box if you can see everyone else's chats? Because if you can see it, I won't read all of them, but if you cannot see the chat, let me know, yes or no. Can you see the chat? No, you cannot see the chat. Okay, so thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. So one of you said you've had blood tests, you have autoimmune issues. RA, that's a hard one. Yes, your thyroid tests are within range. I'm going to talk about that. Thank you for telling me that. I will focus on that. And you just want to feel better. Let's go back to why. Why? What is your purpose? Why do you want to feel better? Because you want to have a hobby? Because you want to go on vacations? Because you want to keep your job? Because you want to enjoy being with your grandkids? I had a client who said, I just want to enjoy being with my grandkids. I want to be able to get down on the floor and play with my grandkids and then get up off the floor, right? Not because before she really struggled getting up off the floor. And now she travels, she plays with her grandkids. She has a whole different quality of life. I had a client who was 21 years old, moved into a new house, immediately was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. Now, obviously, new construction doesn't cause RA, right? Otherwise, everybody who moved into a new house would get RA. But we will talk later tonight. The picture's going to be right here. We're going to talk about why that happened to her. Oh, that's a beautiful, you shared that the reason you want to get better is for your daughter. That is powerful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. So there is hope for the future. Lasting change can be truly remarkably hard to accomplish. But God designed your body to heal. When we remove the interference and we give the body what it needs, the body heals every time. You just have to learn how. Heather is one of my clients who was older. I believe she was in her 40s, and she had two young children. I think they were 3 and 5 when she came to me. And her purpose was her legacy for her children. She wanted to leave them a legacy of health and vitality, because she was, by the time her kids are 20, she's going to be 60 or 70. And so her health was much, much more important to her. And so I want you to take a moment now to lock in your why. Imagine who you can be. So now let's talk about thyroid. Are you ready for that? We're going to get into some science. Whew, look at those lists of symptoms. My goodness. If you were sitting in front of me, I would say, how many of you are experiencing 5 of those? Most of the time, everybody's raising their hand. And at every one of my live talks, someone says, I'm experiencing every single one of those. So the good news for you is that you're not alone. It's not your imagination. You're not making it up. You're not a hypochondriac. You are not alone. Other people are experiencing the same thing. It is not your fault. When you have a why strong enough, it can motivate you to do the hard things, and you can overcome all of those things. In fact, I have a client right now who has figured out, she just started her healing journey. And of course, the longer you're on your healing journey, the better your results are. And right now she's at a place where she gets hot flashes sometimes. However, what she's figured out, when she will do a 24-hour fast, and that's part of what we teach you, you don't go do that tomorrow. When she does a 24-hour fast, her hot flashes go away. Now, if you have suffered from hot flashes, I think a 24-hour fast would be easy. That would be a very, very small price to pay. She is thrilled to be able to find control over the hot flashes and have an option. So one of the things that some of you want to know, you want to find out, your blood tests are normal, but you still have symptoms. Here's why that happens. You go to your doctor with your symptoms. He runs the typical blood test. Your doctor's job is to diagnose disease and give you a treatment. His treatment, he has 2 options, medication and surgery. When he looks at your blood test, he's looking at it to diagnose a condition, a disease, some dysfunction. When I look at a blood test, I run different tests than your doctor does, and I use a completely different range. What I'm looking for is an optimal range. He's looking for a range for dysfunction and disease. So when he says you're normal, that doesn't mean you have optimal function. So that's one of the differences. That's why your blood test may be normal and you still have symptoms. Isn't that frustrating? When that happens, that is extremely frustrating and maddening. Thyroid conditions are a massive pandemic. Look at the numbers in the US alone, 27 million. And this statistic was published in the year 2010. It's much worse now. 27 million have thyroid conditions. Only half of those are diagnosed. Thyroid conditions are the #1 endocrine disorder in the US. So some of you are on medication and you still have symptoms. That's also maddening and frustrating. And I've already explained that. I believe that we don't get sick because of a lack of medication in our diet, right? I think God gave us what we need. I believe, and I'm just going to get really personal here with you for a second. So many times people go out to God in prayer and say, dear God, please heal me. And we go to our friends and our family and our church and we say, pray with me. And yes, that's the right thing to do 100% every time. And I wonder if God looks at us and says, I already answered your prayer. I gave you an immune system. I gave your body the ability to heal. When we remove the interference and we give the body what it needs, the body heals every time. God already gave us that power. He already put that power inside our body. And yet in our country, we are not taught how to do that, are we? That's not what we are taught. Some of you are here because you can't lose weight. No matter what kind of diet you go on, you could eat nothing and gain weight. You could exercise all day long and gain weight. How many of you have experienced that? Anybody? Does anybody experience that? Throw that in the chat box. Let me know. I promise you, it is not your fault. You will soon learn why that happens. I'm going to draw the picture right here. We're going to get to that in a second. Autoimmune. So let me talk about autoimmune for a second. I would love to see in the chat, I believe 2 of you have been diagnosed with autoimmune. If you guys would post them in the chat box for me again, so that I can respond to that. You said, how about your age? Ask the question differently, please. Help me understand. Are you asking how old I am? I'm 58 and a half years old. How about your age? Can you be healthy when you're old? Yes. Can you heal even if you're older? Absolutely, 100% of the time. If I answered your question, that's good. If I misunderstood your question, ask it again. So autoimmune, let's talk about that. The common definition is the body doing what? Yes, the body attacking itself. Now I'm going to challenge that. I believe your body is way too smart to attack itself. Here's what happens with autoimmune. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to ask you some stupid questions. Just go with me on this. You eat food and it goes where? In your stomach. And in your stomach, what happens? It gets broken down into the individual nutrients. The wall of your stomach is supposed to have really, really tight junctions. You should also have those same tight junctions in your whole digestive system and in your brain. Your blood-brain barrier is supposed to have really tight junctions. I chased a rabbit there. Let's come back to the stomach. So in your stomach, you're supposed to have really tight junctions. So the only thing that gets through the wall of the gut into the bloodstream is the individual nutrients, and those get transported all around the body. However, when you have inflammation in your gut, those junctions get leaky gut, loose junctions, and then big chunks of food can get through the wall of the gut into the bloodstream. Does the body think that's normal? Are you supposed to have big chunks of meat in your blood? No, the body is attacking that. The body is attacking the foreign invader. If you have toxins in your thyroid gland, you'll know more about that in a second. Mercury has an affinity for the thyroid. God did not design us. He did not plan for us to be eating mercury. And how many of us have ever had a silver filling? How many of us have ever had a vaccination, eaten fish? We've got mercury in there, and mercury binds to the thyroid, and the body says that is not normal, and the body attacks the mercury, the foreign invader. Thyroid autoimmune might be called Graves' or Hashimoto's. The toxins might grab onto your skin, affecting that tight junction. And we might give you a label of an autoimmune skin condition. We might give you a label of an autoimmune condition in the gut, Crohn's, celiac, IBS, IBD. All of those things happen because there are foreign invaders in the body. And the body is attacking that just like it would attack a virus. The body attacks that foreign invader. That is the definition of autoimmune. So if that's what autoimmune is, then can you heal? from autoimmune? 100%. You heal from autoimmune when you remove those foreign invaders from your body. There is hope. Thank you for asking your question again. What about your age and your weight and your thyroid problem? So if you're older and you have a thyroid problem, can you lose weight? 100%. Absolutely, 100%. Now, you might need a slightly different program than someone who is younger. And we do some custom programs, and we do some group programs, and we do some packaged programs, because out of all of you who are on the call tonight, none of you is exactly like the next person. Each of you is unique. So we will offer an opportunity for you later for us to figure out what kind of program might serve your unique needs. So if I could show you a different way, different from the solutions that the doctor has given you, different from diet and exercise and medication and treating symptoms, a solution that could give you confidence in the strength and health of your body. Would you be open? Would you be open to hearing about that? Great. So we are now going to define the problem. So we're moving into the next phase of our talk. 4 problems they don't tell you about. You know what's funny? I did not put that little picture on there today. That picture was there years ago, but today, oh my goodness, that picture has a whole new meaning, doesn't it? Today, we have a whole different value system in our health than we had even 3 months ago. Thank you for chatting. I appreciate that. So 4 problems they don't tell you about. The reasons that you have normal blood tests and you still have symptoms. The reasons you're on medication and you still have symptoms. The reason you can't lose weight despite diet and exercise. The reason you have autoimmune and you get a condition and you get a diagnosis and you keep on getting more and more and more and more and you keep getting sicker and sicker. And the reason Americans are the sickest in the world. Here are the reasons. Now I want you to get out your paper and your pen. Get a different piece of paper, please. Because remember, on this paper, you have your commitment to yourself, your commitment to me, your commitment to your family. I will, and you're going to make notes about the actions that you're going to take. So on your other paper, I want you to draw the things that I'm drawing here on my board. Not because you're going to go home tomorrow and review it, but because it puts it in a different place in your brain. So number 1 is cellular inflammation. Now let me pause for a second. Which of your organs is made up of cells? All of them. All of them. So when we focus on health at the cellular level, we can have one focus that affects the whole body. At that point, we don't have to focus on diagnoses and symptoms, because we can trust the body to do the healing. And that's a very uncommon philosophy in our country. So, every cell in your body, 2 layers of fat on the outside. We need that to be good fat, not bad fat. And that's one of the things that we have to teach you, because you're not going to get that information from the media or from the typical dietitian. You have countless receptors on the outside of your cell for all of your vitamins, minerals, nutrients, emotions, and for your hormones. When you have inflammation in your body, those receptors get burned out. So tonight, we're talking about thyroid. What if this is your T3 receptor and it's burned out? It would be just like when you're on your cell phone and you drop the call. Why do you lose the call? Is it because your phone's a piece of trash? No, it's because you lost reception, right? Inflammation can destroy all of your hormones. What if it's your sex hormones, your testosterone, your estrogen? You might not have an estrogen problem. Your estrogen might be perfect. The problem might be the reception. The estrogen can't work. Do you know what the hormone is that tells your body to burn fat for fuel? Leptin. Leptin is the hormone that tells your body to burn fat for fuel. You're probably all having a huge aha moment right now. If leptin tells my body to burn fat for fuel, but the leptin receptor is burned out, no wonder I can't burn fat for fuel. No wonder I go on a diet and I exercise and I can't lose weight, right? The problem is not the hormone, the problem is the reception. The problem is that the receptor is burned out because of the cellular inflammation. So I hope that right now you have hope. I hope right now that that burden got lifted off of your shoulders and you can say with confidence, it is not my fault I couldn't lose weight. It's not because I need to try a new diet or because I couldn't do the right diet or because I didn't have enough willpower. It's because you have what? What's the problem? Cellular inflammation is the problem. And in a second, we're going to talk about what question you're probably asking yourself right now. Why do I have inflammation? Where's the inflammation coming from? We're going to get that. Elena, you said that you can't see. There was nothing on my board to begin with, and now I've written on it. So I hope that now you can see, but confirm that for me. I can move this a little bit closer. I can turn off a light, but I don't think that helps. I can turn one of the lights a different direction. I'm not sure if that's going to help either. So you guys let me know if you can see. So the second problem that they don't tell you about is that maybe your problem is not a hormone problem or a thyroid problem. Maybe the problem is a liver problem. Your T4 gets converted to T3 in your liver. If your liver is overworked and struggling, then the T4 can't convert to T3. T3 is the active hormone. Go back mentally to that list of all of those symptoms that some of you said, yeah, I have every single one of those symptoms. You have those symptoms because T3 is not working. It could be that your T3 receptor is burned out. It could be that your liver is overworked and your liver can't convert T4 to T3. Another problem could be that you have chronically high RT3. RT3 is reverse T3, and it tells your body to stop the T3. And I'm not going to go into that very much tonight. So a few of you already know about RT3, so that's why I wanted to comment on that. That is one of the tests that I want to run with my clients. I run free T3, total T3, and RT3. Most doctors do not run total T3 and RT3. So then the fourth reason that you might think you have a thyroid problem is autoimmune. Most of the time, autoimmune is not diagnosed. Even if you got a test and it was negative, most people can have an autoimmune condition decades before a test will come back positive. Whew, so right now, I hope that you're breathing a sigh of relief. Finally, someone can tell me why. Have you gone to your doctors to say why? Why is my blood test normal and I still feel rotten? Why am I on medication for decades and I can't lose weight? Why can I diet and not lose weight? Why do I have autoimmune? Why do I keep getting more and more? Why do I feel like I've lost my life? I get to the end of the day and I don't have any energy. I'm completely out of control with my hormones. I scream and yell at my family when they didn't do anything wrong. I go to work and I can't remember what my boss told me to do. I have to write down everything and then I can't find my list. Why do I keep feeling worse and worse? Now you understand why. And I hope that that makes you feel powerful. Knowledge can change your life when you use it. And that's why I told you the most important thing tonight is this list. Your commitment, your purpose that will drive you to take action. That's the most important thing for you tonight. This knowledge that you just got, I hope that you've learned something. Please comment that. Put that in the chat box. If you were here in person with me, I would say, who has learned something? And every talk I have, everybody raises their hand. I finally have learned something. That's my first purpose here tonight for you, is that you get some knowledge that you didn't have before. So our solution is true cellular detox. Now, let me back up one step. So let me back up, literally back up. So let's think about this inflammation. The inflammation in the gut causes the leaky gut. The inflammation causes the hormone problems. Inflammation can be why you have nutrient problems. Your body, maybe you're deficient in magnesium or potassium or things like that. So the question is, what causes the inflammation? Because in order to solve any problem, we have to identify the cause of the problem, identify and remove the cause of the problem. Toxins are causing the inflammation. Toxins are the #1 cause. A couple of other things are sugars and grains and bad fats. So of course you do have to change your diet to get better. And we have a very unique diet program, or an eating plan, and a unique eating plan. So let's think about toxins. The inflammation is caused by toxins. And we're going to come back to that in just a second. We're going to talk about which toxins and where do they come from and how do they affect us. One problem, cellular inflammation, causing all of the hormone problems and causing the autoimmune conditions. Thank you for your chat. I appreciate that. Very good. So let's think about, I want you to draw a bucket. Your bucket can be as simple or as elaborate as you want to make it. #1 cause of inflammation and thyroid problems. 3 kinds of toxins. #1, heavy metals. So if you have ever lived in a house built before 1987, you have lead. So in your buckets, remember, you're writing these things down on your paper. Everything I'm putting on my board, you're writing down. If you remember leaded gasoline, if you have ever lived in a house built before the late 70s, there was lead in the paint, there was lead in the pipes, there was lead in the gasoline. Lead accumulates in our bodies 4 generations. My children have my lead and my mother's lead and her mother's and her mother's. Our middle son, when we first did his urine chelation challenge toxic metals test, let me see if I can show you this. This was his lead. Off the chart. He was never directly exposed to lead. The next year, there's his lead. Much better, right? It's now, instead of off the chart, it's in the yellow. That wasn't good enough for me. I'm not satisfied with that. I want the best for that kid. But huge progress. In 1 little year, we got rid of so much lead. Mercury. If you've ever had a vaccination, if you have ever had an amalgam filling, even if you don't have it in there anymore, you have mercury. If your mother had metal fillings, you have mercury. When I took my heavy metals test, my aluminum was off the chart. My grandmother had Alzheimer's. And aluminum and mercury are the 2 leading causes of Alzheimer's. So #2 is biotoxins. Bio means living toxins, like mold. If you live in a humid area, you're very highly at risk for having been exposed to mold at some point. The mold I'm talking about is hidden inside the wall, or under the flooring where you can't see it and you can't smell it. So let's put humidity. If you live in a humid area, you're likely to have had a mold exposure. If you've ever lived in a house that had a basement,